friends, thanks for joining me today. Today I want to talk to you about organizing. And you guys know I have been working on organizing for quite a while, and I am still working on it. It's been a big job, but I keep plugging away every day. So back in June of 2020, so this is about a year and a half ago, I received a bunch of vintage papers. And I recorded myself organizing them, but I don't know why I never shared the video. And you guys know part of my organizing is editing some of the stuff that's in my electronic draft folders and getting those videos out to you guys. I think sometimes I get busy with other things that are on more of a timeline, and so I end up putting those out, and then some of the old stuff just kind of drops to the bottom, and then I don't see it, I don't pay attention to it. So I'm going to be working on getting those videos out to you. And since I've been talking about organizing so much, I thought, you know what, I might as well go ahead and share that. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you some of the papers that I received, show you how I went through them to try to get them organized. And let me tell you, it was several huge boxes of papers, and it was quite a job to get them organized. And I also had to kind of clean them up a little bit. They had been in storage for quite a while, so I put them out in the sun to let them air out and bake in the hot Florida sun, so that if there was anything on them, you know, if there was any little spiders or anything like that, that would be gone. And then once I got them organized, I put them some dryer sheets like in between, because bugs do not like dryer sheets. So if you ever need to store something and you don't want bugs getting in it, now I live in Florida, you can't help it, they're around, then you can always put some dryer sheets in there and they'll avoid it. And spiders also really do not like dryer sheets at all. So I use them everywhere, really. You know, like in my closets, and if I'm going to put something in like a Ziploc bag, I'll put a dryer sheet in there. If it's like paper stuff that I'm trying to like preserve, I'll do that, and it seems to work, seems to do the job. So I appreciate you spending some time with me today. I figured I'd go ahead and do a time lapse of me going through the papers and organizing them. The first thing I'm going to do is make some space so that I can create my piles. Since this is open and not really organized, it's just floating around in a bag, I think we'll tackle this first, but still got to create some space. All of these papers are vintage. They are from the 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s. And I am dividing up canceled checks, check registers, old ATM cards, and they're made out of cardstock. Like now they're that super flimsy paper, but these were nice firm cardstock. Bank statements. There are some old letters, things like that. I'll be separating the bank statements from their envelopes, and so I'll store the statements in one spot and then the envelopes in another, and that way I can grab whatever it is that I need. And so that's, yeah, I'm just trying to get everything organized so that when I put it away, I can just go to exactly what it is that I need and grab it. Here I have a notebook of receipts from department stores. So we have JCPenney and Lord & Taylor. On this side we have Garfinkel's, Bloomingdale's. I think that's it. I've got the receipts, the credit card statements that go with each, and also I've kept the envelopes. I'm hoping to make some vintage department store journals or fashion journals, something of that nature with those. And in this folder I've got department store receipts, the envelopes that match for Hex, which was a department store, and over here also Hex is are the credit card receipts from the old-fashioned credit machines, bunches of those, and they do say the items that were purchased, which is great. And of course the statements say what items were purchased, and then the envelopes of course have a date on them. So I would like to do another vintage fashion one with these. I probably will be able to make more than one, honestly, probably many. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then in this folder I have, this looks like Woodward and Lothrop, and we don't have that here where I live in Florida, but I do remember, I used to live up north, and I do remember hearing the name of that store. So I have the envelopes here, and of course if I can't use the envelopes because they've been torn, actually the inside of them is really very decorative. I don't know if you can see that, so I could open them and use them. That's actually a really good idea. There's also the stamp part of it here, and it's of course got the date on it and the postage paid and whatnot. So those will come in handy for journals and ephemera. And over here I've got the department store actual statement to pay the bill, and then I have, like the other one, I've got the credit card, old-fashioned credit card statements, and they too say what was purchased. So like for example, I just looked at one and it said cookware. So when I'm ready and I've sorted all my papers, maybe I separate fashion from things like cookware, and then maybe I could do like a vintage housewares journal, as well as the vintage clothing journal. And then also for my organization, so far in this box I have a huge number of pay stubs dating from the 1970s until whenever. So I should say 1950s is actually what I meant to say. And then these are some drugstore bags that I've organized into this bin. I don't know that both of these things will stay in this bin together, but that's what I've got in there right now. And so what I've done is I put the Christmas cards and Christmas envelopes in here, but it's an accordion, so I think what I'll do is, I know that these aren't like items, but there's this little pouch here, so I can make a piece of paper that says what's in here. So I have all these AMCO receipts, so I'm going to put those in one of the little file sections. And this is nice and wide, so I can separate them like that and fit, I think I can fit 3 rows in here. I think so. Now I have mobile gas receipts, lots of these. So I'm going to put these in another section in here. The next pile is Chevron. And inside these envelopes, these are really pretty too. You can see they're blue inside. So, and they have windows. So, you know, this could be a multi-use envelope. I could open them and use this for the decorative. I have a window envelope, so I could use this, you know, fancy it up and use it. So I've got all of those. And I'm going to go ahead and file those in here as well. I feel that with these receipts, the gas receipts, I will do some travel notebooks, some travel junk journals, I should say, and those will be fun to use in the travel junk journals. Now this big stack is shell, and so I've got use of the envelope. It has a window. It also is stamped. For example, this one says January 18th, 1992, and it costs 23 cents. And then on the inside, these are actually red. I hope that you can see it. And then inside each one, let me do one for you. We have our credit card, our Shell credit card statement with dates. And then we also have the old credit card receipts. Really fun ephemera here. So that's in each one. I'm not going to separate them like I did my department store receipts. I'm going to leave them together like they are, but file them all. I can get this back in here. So we're going to leave them together like they are, file them all in this nice green folder, but that way if I, you know, want to use them, create a travel junk journal, whatever the case may be, I'll just reach in and grab a handful. Now I have a pile of travel, let's see, American Express travel related services, and I open it up and I have a credit card statement, and with the credit card statement I also have some old receipts. So for example, this one gives me a date, how much it costs to fill up the tank, the location of the gas station, and that sort of thing. So, and then the credit card statement actually has some really nice lines on it. I'll remove the personal information from it before I put it in a junk journal, but this is definitely good space that somebody could write on. So for filing purposes, I am going to put this back in its envelope. And I'm going to put this with the other gas receipts because it's all, if you will, travel related. And so if I'm going to make some travel or junk journals, all of these would be perfect. So that being said, I'm going to remove the Christmas cards from this folder because it seems that I'm using this folder mostly for travel related stuff, and so I do like to keep like items together. So I've removed those, and in their place we are going to put these American Express statements. With travel in mind, I have these Silverwing Plus United Airlines statements. I've got 3 of them. We've got a nice vintage brochure in one of them, so there's probably a bunch of that kind of stuff in the other ones. She's getting full, but you know, we still have a little more room. I actually have 1 pocket left, so I'm going to look around on the floor. Here's what we've got going on the floor. All my variety of piles to choose from. So if I can find something travel worthy, we'll add it. I've decided to put the Christmas cards and Christmas envelopes in this red notebook. The red will help remind me that it's Christmas, but I will also label it. So we're going to do the cards on one pocket and the envelopes on another pocket. So this looks like it's all the envelopes. Not sure what that's doing in there. Okay, so, oh wait, we've got a few cards mixed in with the envelopes. Let's move those. Oh, actually quite a few. Whoops. I thought I had separated these. Okay, we look good now. Cascading them a little bit so it's not real bulky. I'm going to try to do the same thing on this side. Let's see if I can sort these just a little bit. I don't need to be too particular about them. I just want to get some of the small ones on the outside. Alright, that's good enough, I think. Hi friends, so I am continuing my organization of the vintage papers, and I decided today would be the day that I completed the job. I've been working on this for days and days, many days, maybe even weeks. Here I have a very old newspaper, so I've sealed that up in a bag. Next to it I have some brown envelopes and also some government envelopes. Well, what you see in that plastic bin over there, that's an entire bin full of checks. And then above it are actual heavyweight paper debit card receipts. Here I have stacks of bank statements and credit card statements. I also have boxes full of envelopes, and as you can see here, piles of envelopes. I have separated them and, organized them and put all the same ones together. Except for this pile right here. This is odd and end type envelope, so I'll have to go through that further. This pile of papers here, this is like ephemera, brochures, things like that are, some are holiday, some are sports and cooking. And then this stack here is like just variety brochures and whatnot, mostly from banks. And that is my gigantic cup of coffee, because that's the only way I'm getting through this. Over here in this box, I have separated out a bunch of receipts and papers that I know I'm going to do fashion and style and stuff like that, journals. So they're in all those books over there. In this green notebook, I've separated out a bunch of stuff to make travel journals. So here it is in total. Looks like a mess, but believe it or not, it's a bit of an organized mess right now. Now I'm going to go look for a file box so I can start filing. Here's my file box, and now I'm going to start labeling these file folders and putting the statements in. If I feel that the papers that I'm putting in the file folder don't need to be coffee dyed or don't need any further work, I'm going to put the word ready. So on this one, for example, I'm going to put bank statement and then ready. And I was thinking about putting the color, but I guess I don't need to.
So here's some of the ephemera that I got from disassembling some of the envelopes. I still have plenty of full envelopes, but there's only so many I could use. So this way, I get to use them in many different ways. Okay friends, I worked on this for over 12 hours today. Let me break this down for you. So here we have a pile that I'm probably going to try to sell. Then in the small bucket I have things that I can use for journaling tucks. And below that is a bucket full of checks which I can use my flower punch on to make flowers. And then we have some drugstore bags and work receipts that date back to the 1950s. Then we have a bunch of envelopes, and I have a whole nother drawer full of empty old envelopes. And down here I have a packet of small papery type things. And then this is my entire file box here that I completely organized. Then I have my drawer. And the top drawer is for handwritten notes. The second one is for nursing journals. And then the third one is for interesting or important documents. Then in here I have all of my colored paper and things like that. And then this one's going to be like some little specialty stuff that I have filed. So this morning the room was a train wreck. And now everything is contained and organized.
Thanks for watching. See you soon.